Hey, folks, good evening. This is Chris in England. Content creators are purportedly causing a ruckus amongst many South African refugee aspirants. I'm not sure what the issue is, but I've heard several of my viewers commenting this evening about other content creators discussing the possibility that South Africa or President Cyril Ramaphosa will block the U.S. refugee program for South Africa. First, I'll start by stating clearly that I have not watched any other content creators' products. I'm a bit decisively engaged here in England with the Women's Rugby World Cup, so I cannot and I will not comment on any other creators' content. Second, the concerns appear to be about South Africa's Home Affairs planning to or already purportedly have blocked visas for 30 Kenyans whom Reuters reported were planning on relocating to South Africa to facilitate the screening of South African refugee aspirants. I have no confirmation that this has occurred, nor that it will happen. In any case, the effort by the State Department to relocate RSC staff to South Africa was apparently intended to smooth coordination and speed up referrals. No doubt, having the screening staff present in Pretoria could speed things up, but it's not necessary to continue the program. The Department of State has sent additional staff to South Africa Americans to handle the flood of cases. More Americans are now in South Africa working on this program than previously. Let me be clear, South Africa cannot block the U.S. refugee program for South Africans. Neither South Africa or Ramaphosa have any sovereignty over the United States. The U.S. designates refugees under the 1980 Immigration Nationality Act. South African refugees are an internal, sovereign U.S. issue, not a Republic of South Africa issue. Therefore, they have no say in the matter. If the ANC's feelings are hurt because South Africa is labeled as a country that people must flee from, well, that's simply too bad. As Ronnie Lamola and Cyril are so fond of pointing out, South Africa is a sovereign nation, as is the United States. South Africa has no say whatsoever in whom we allow to enter the United States. None. And we have no say over who South Africa allows to enter its territory. That said, as I've pointed out repeatedly since February 7th, South Africa is a sovereign nation. They do control their borders and exit points at airfields. We have no control over that. To allay fears and unwarranted concerns about all of this, folks, let me make a few points clear. South Africa cannot block the U.S. refugee program for South Africans. Whether the Kenyans working for RSC sit in Nairobi or in Pretoria will not stop the program. The program is not an Afrikaner refugee program, Daily Maverick. It is not an Afrikaner refugee program. And every time you report that, you're spreading fake news. It is not for whites exclusively. It is not and never has been a program for farmers. Trump did express some solidarity and concern about South African farmers, Afrikaner farmers in particular, but this program is not for farmers. They can participate in it, but it is not for them. The program is open to all racial minorities suffering unjust racial discrimination who are South African citizens. Now, neither Pretoria or the captured South African media can dictate who the U.S. accepts as refugees. We'll accept them, no matter how many times News 24 or the Daily Maverick or IOL put quotations around the term refugee to describe South Africans. It doesn't diminish the fact that legally they are refugees and they will be accepted in the United States as such. Now, the Reuters article that scared so many people before I came to England discussed a cap on the number of refugees that can come into the country. That should not have caused panic. I did a video previously, which obviously YouTube is hiding because only 17,000 people watched it. But as I've stated over and over since February, the executive branch must submit a planned cap for refugee intake every fiscal year. Congress then approves the cap, but is often over or undersubscribed. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is oftentimes more people are allowed in or fewer people come in than planned for. It's just simply a statement of fact. President Trump, in his last year as president, last time, had a cap of 15,000 refugees from the entire world. This time, some treasonous bastard in the government has leaked information to Reuters, which they shouldn't be doing. They should be fired for disclosing this information. They have no right to disclose this information. They have told the press, Reuters specifically, that there will be a purported cap of 40,000 for the globe for fiscal year 2026, which begins 1 October and runs to 30 September 2026. But that's a projection. And of that, they claim that 30,000 will be dedicated to South Africa. Now, Reuters claims will be dedicated to white South Africans. Once again, that's fake news. It's South Africans. But if that is the case, that means 75% of the people of the United States will accept as refugees in the next fiscal year will be from one country, South Africa. Instead of panicking about this, I think people need to calm down and relax and understand that that is not the total time span of this program. It doesn't include the people who've already come across or are coming across between now and 30 September, which is about 5 weeks away. And it doesn't include the people coming in fiscal year 2027. So take a deep breath and relax. The information I'm about to share with you now comes directly from the U.S. Embassy website in South Africa. And I've said this myself many times, and the embassy has updated their website to reflect the things I've been saying. If you've already submitted a statement of interest, there is no need to resubmit. If you get a passport after the fact, you don't have to resubmit. RC Africa, that's the company that's working for Church World Services, will work through the sizable volume of submissions, gathering applicant information for assessment by the U.S. government. Given the volume of interest, individuals may not receive a response for an extended period of time. They've told people that time and time again, but the patience of some people is really frustrating. Not all individuals who meet the basic eligibility criteria and are selected for an initial interview will be referred. The U.S. government considers a variety of factors when making referral decisions to become refugees, including eligibility, persecution claim, and background check results. All of those play a role. The authority to grant access to the U.S. Refugee Assistance Program via referral rests with the U.S. government and is not a function of RC Africa. I've made that clear since the outset. I'm glad to see the U.S. Embassy has finally updated their website to tell people that's the case. Kenyans aren't deciding who comes to America. Americans are deciding who comes to America. As simple as that. It's always been the case. Now, access to the U.S. Refugee Assistance Program, once again, since I said since February 7th, is free. No one can get you on a list. No one can get you to the front of the queue. No one can get you into the program with money. It does not work that way. And if someone asks you for money, they're a fraud. They're a grifter. They're a flim-flam man. They're trying to steal money from you. Do not pay anything. Now, that includes filling out the statement of interest. No one needs help on that. Any lucid person can fill that form out. You don't need help. Using a translator or preparer is not necessary, as those services will be provided by the Refugee Assistance Program. So do not give money to people and do not panic. So as I say, I'm making this video tonight because a number of my viewers are telling me that they're concerned about South Africa blocking the program. South Africa has no sovereignty over U.S. internal issues, and the refugee assessment is a U.S. internal issue. They do have sovereignty over who enters their country, and they can deny the Kenyans visas to come there. That's their prerogative. But that won't stop the program. That'll just piss the U.S. government off even further, as if there isn't enough to already piss the government off because South Africa's ANC's actions against U.S. interest. The bottom line here, folks, is that it doesn't matter what South Africa's government does. The program is going to continue because the law is repressive. The law is morally bankrupt. The law is racist. 145 laws specifically targeting racial minorities, and the proof is in the pudding. So until South Africa changes its racist laws, like the apartheid government refused to do, things won't change, or until a new president comes in who is less sympathetic to people who are suffering from unjust racial discrimination simply because their skin pigmentation doesn't match the ideal of what a racial discrimination case is. But this is the case in South Africa for coloreds, Indians, and for whites. What say you, South Africa? Don't panic. That's what I say. Chill out, take a deep breath, and stop listening to people that have no idea what they're talking about. People who've never read the U.S. Immigration and Nationality Act, people who are not lawyers, people who are not analysts, people who have never served in the government, people who've never worked in an embassy are running around making YouTube content and Facebook content as if they know what the hell they're talking about. And some of you are listening to them. If you're panicking, that's your own fault. The only place you need to go for the correct information is U.S. Embassy website, za.usembassy.gov. Simple as that. It's there. You don't have to believe me. I'll show you the receipts. It's right there on their website. My analysis has been spot on, and you'll notice that many things on that website that were not there since the 12th of May have now been updated. And when did they get updated? After Colonel Wyatt repeatedly stated the obvious through his own analysis. The embassy finally began to update that website and include things that you need to know. So, folks, there you have it. That's the situation. Don't panic. Stay chill. And by the way, become a subscriber and help us out in this channel. We could use the help here. Thanks a lot. Cheers, and have a good night.